Guys, it's Tara with another Crafting with Curly Cues video. Today I am going to take some of the leftover pieces from the last card that I made that was a really complicated scene card, and I'm going to create this really cute additional card using those leftover pieces. So this is the card that I created, and I made way too many of these little forest element pieces here. So I was like, what the hey, let's make another card. And then I also have this piece of the inside of the frame that I use that's all embossed with a wood grain background and clear embossing powder, so I just went for it. So here are the additional pieces that I made to make this card. I used the Simon Says Stamp Frames dies to make that little scallopy frame, and then I used an additional Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle to make the small rectangle in the craft cardstock there, and then this large rectangle in some Doodlebug Happy Camper pattern paper here. And then I just kind of distressed the outside of all that with some walnut stain ink to kind of match that dark chocolate cardstock that's going to go in the middle. So that all took maybe 10 minutes. I mean, it was just a really quick prep of, okay, I need like one or two more pieces. And then the only additional thing that I did was I took the Fawn Gleeful Garden set and I stamped the large snail on craft and I colored it in with Prismacolor pencils to match the other elements that I have. So now I'm just taking my Zig glue pen and I'm going to glue down that delicate little frame for the outside there and just put that on to the front of the card. So this is a nice way to see how you can kind of use some of these elements in the other card is like a really kind of complicated, lots of stuff going on, and this is a more simple layout kind of card, so I thought it was fun to use the same elements to make two completely different styles of card also. So that was really fun. So this is just my ATG gun I'm just using to put this panel on the middle of the card here, and that is the one that came out of the frame from the other card. And I'm really bad about when I make a card, I'm like, oh, I can absolutely use that piece later, and I save it. And about a week later, when I haven't used it and it's cluttering up my desk, I usually end up just throwing it away. So I was actually pretty proud of myself for just making this card right now with all these pieces. In fact, I actually still have a bunch of these pieces sitting on my desk and a bunch of little mushrooms and trees and a hedgehog from another card that I made. So I guess I'm going to have to make all kinds of forest cards, but my hubby has told me that I'm doing too many trees. He said, you need to stop making tree cards. So my next card is not going to have trees on it. So sorry if I'm overwhelming you with the tree cards right now, but hey, I thought it was fun. I had a little urge. All my forest scenes were coming together. So I'm going to use this little log and some of these little mushrooms here, and I'm going to make a nice little perch for my little snail friend that I created. So first I'm just kind of seeing where everything is going to fit on this card because I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And the sentiment is also from the Gleeful Gardens stamp set that the little snail is from. The Gleeful Gardens is one of my absolute favorites. You guys should totally check it out if you haven't. I'm going to list all the supplies over on my blog that I'm using here, so you can definitely look at that and check out some of these great Lawn Fawn stamps. So that bonjour image, which I really love, that little sentiment there, it fit perfectly on that stitch rectangle. So I stamped that up at the top, and now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere some of my pieces. So I'm going to put everything except for the snail just directly onto my card front. So I'm just using that Zig glue pen and just sticking all these little logs and mushrooms. You can see the log, I didn't really press him down yet because I did want to tuck that mushroom right behind there. So now I'm going to really push down so that glue can stick, but I wanted to get that mushroom back behind there before I really stuck it down good. So I got one mushroom tucked behind the log and one kind of off to the side, and I like how they kind of go off that little craft square rectangle there in the forefront. So it's there as like a guide, but it's not constricting the scene inside of it. So now I'm going to take the little snail friend and I'm going to pop him up with just a little bit of craft foam tape. Actually, I'm not going to use Scotch foam tape. I have these little craft squares from my Simon Says Stamp August card kit, and these happen to already be cut into little pieces. So I stuck those on the back of the snail, saving even more work using leftovers from other projects. So score. And I'm just going to pop him up right there. And now the card is essentially done. You could walk away at this point and you'd still have a beautiful card. But I'm going to add a little bit of embellishing. So I've got some Wink of Stella on his shell. And then I'm going to put that on the white spots on the mushrooms as well. And then I'm going to take some wood veneer hearts here that I have this giant pack of all different sizes. And I just kind of bust them out when I feel like I need a little bit of extra extra pizzazz on a card, and I'm going to select a couple different sizes of those and stick them onto the front around that sentiment. I felt like the sentiment was kind of up there all by its lonesome and it needed a little bit of love. So I found some hearts, because what better way to give a sentiment some love than with some hearts. So this is my Ranger multimedia mat, and I am using that to put a little bit on the back of those hearts and then squish them down. And the next hearts I'm going to put on are like eensy weensy microscopic. So that multimedia mat is really great, because if it squishes out the back of your embellishment, you're not going to be able to see it on your card because it dries completely clear and matte, so there's no shiny. So it's awesome for those teeny tiny things that are super hard to not have stuff squish out of. So I'm just covering those hearts with some Christmas red stickles and giving them a nice little red glittery shimmery look. And then I'm going to take my glossy accents and I am going to coat the shell of the snail and the white spots on the mushrooms with some glossy accents to give that a little bit of extra pizzazz as well. I really like doing the larger areas. I mean, the snail shell's not huge, but it's a little bit larger than just like a dot, and I think it looks really cool. Right now it's kind of frosty. You can't really see through it, but it dries crystal clear and it just gives it a really neat shine and texture. And I really love the look of it over the top of the Wink of Stella. It's really pretty, provides a lot of shimmer. So now that I've got that on there, that is going to finish up this card that I threw together really quickly. I think the whole thing took me less than 20 minutes, which for me is a really fast card. I'm typically an hour and a half to 2 hours on everything I do. So using the extra elements, that just shows you a little way to take some of those extra pieces and put them to work right away. So there's a look at the card, and then I've got a nice close-up here of the elements that went on the bottom. If you liked this video, please do hit the subscribe and go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. I'm going to go ahead and list all of the supplies that I used over at my blog. It's at curlycues.blogspot.com. You can find Curly Cues on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. If you like this video, here's that scene card that I had that created these pieces, and then that other Paper Smooches card is also a card that I used with a leftover piece. So I thought I'd give you guys those. So thanks.